さよなら。
Is Black Ops 3 Zombies actually saved? I want to talk about this as a response to my last video where we talked about how the Black Ops 3 PC servers were potentially compromised from China. And so today I want to bring an update to the situation because the creator of the community patch for Black Ops 3 Zombies PC that keeps everybody safe while using it, named Serious or Shiversoft Dev, came back with an absolute behemoth of a post on YouTube talking about a lot of the details of the T7 patch. There's a lot of things I agree with in this post, but there's also some things that I don't agree with, and I want to talk about this because this is so important for the safety of what is happening with Black Ops 3 PC. So let's just start it off quick, and Serious makes a very bold claim here stating that the T7 patch or the Black Ops 3 community patch for PC will always be safe. He even says that he doesn't need to keep updating it, and so my question for Serious is, why did he not state this before? And it's kind of weird though, because when you use the T7 patch, it does ask you to update it. And I have had people email me and show me a bunch of different hacks or whatever they're using, whatever exploits they have to be able to not only bypass the T7 patch, but still kick people off of their games. And so he does say that a lot of people are drawing conclusions out of thin air, but with what we've seen already, I can understand why so many people were scared. And I still believe if you play the game without the patch, it is still unsafe. And another person that actually quote tweeted his post was a man named Gun of Truth, who I referenced in my last video. And he actually says that the issue is not the T7 patch, but the servers. Now, Serious actually states that he doesn't believe that the Black Ops 3 PC servers were moved to China, but Gun of Truth actually says something different. He says that there is some sort of issue still correlating with the Black Ops 3 IP pointing to the servers in Guangdong, China, and people still not being able to join. So he believes that they're somehow correlated. And again, it's very difficult because we have two different opinions here. We have Serious saying that this didn't happen, and we have Gun of Truth stating that he has been modding for 12 years and he has seen that the servers have somehow been altered. So ultimately, I do have to say it's nobody's fault here. Ultimately, this is Activision's fault for not being 100% transparent about this. I mean, this is the biggest thing that really irks me about Call of Duty. They have literally made a Twitter account for Treyarch and its community on Twitter called Treyarch CM, but they do not post anything about this situation at all. So what is even the point of this Twitter account? It does not make sense why people in the community are the first people to solve this and then actually try and figure it out. And now there's a bunch of arguments and quarrels about this. And so basically, I'm here to give you guys this definitive video to really show you guys what you should be doing with Black Ops 3 Zombies. I also do have to say, I find it odd that Serious can come out and say that everything is fine when there's clearly been some sort of change, and he himself even admits that there are still exploits in the game that can force DLLs on your game, and that old RCE exploits are still around on the community servers. But just because nobody is using it, that doesn't mean it's not bad. I'm pretty sure that's not how it works, Serious. And I even said in my last video, if people are finding new exploits, it will ultimately be a matter of time until things ultimately get worse. I've already had people send in emails about, like I said, how they're able to bypass the patch in the past. And so I don't really understand how he can with 100% confidence state that the game is still safe. Now, I do believe that this was in the past, and I do believe in ways that I have still been hacked using Black Ops 3 on PC without the T7 patch. But now with the T7 patch, I can guarantee for most people that it will be pretty much safe for you guys. You know, Serious, like I said, doesn't claim that the servers have been moved to China, but he does say that the NAT issues that people are having are people's internet service provider. And now, I don't know, I find that kind of a bizarre claim ultimately, because I want people to know what I'll be doing going forward as a content creator and just making sure that you guys have the best idea as to what you should do. So I want to say I still agree with the sentiment that if you're not a content creator, a streamer, or some sort of public identity, then you for the most part should be all right no matter what console you play on. However, I would say though, if you are going to be playing on PC, and even for myself, I am literally forced to use the T7 patch, because without it, I get booted off of playing Black Ops 3 Zombies if I'm playing online. And ultimately, if you don't ever want to have that experience, you should always play these games offline, which is a major problem happening with the newer games, because they don't have an offline mode, and because they don't have an offline mode, it ultimately makes the game have a lot less of a life cycle, because as soon as the servers are compromised, then it's pretty much over. Now, I was extremely excited for the Boy client coming out last summer in 2023 to be fully finished, and it was going to be something that I was going to fully use, but the issue is I just find it annoying to run a random person's community patch file to play a 10-year-old COD game, and it would have been easier just playing on a separate client like how Plutonium has, but because Activision has cease and desisted Boy, I would rather play on Black Ops 3 the base version of the game with the patch, because I will say, if you are not playing with that patch, it is unsafe. And sure, you might not be booted off, but if you are streaming, you probably are making yourself a target and making yourself a victim of something that you really don't have to go through. Like I said, this is ultimately Activision's fault for basically giving the community no other options but to use this community patch. I've had my own computer even identify the T7 patch as malicious software, so I have doubts pretty much about everything now, especially considering the amount of times that I have been hacked in the past, and I still do believe I got hacked via someone on Black Ops 3. But regardless, I will say, use the T7 patch and make sure that you have friends only on the patch, and that you have a network password, because without the network password, you still can be taken offline, and I've had that as well happen to me. So like I said, if you are running that patch, for the most part, you should be fine. But I will reiterate what I said in my last video. I still don't agree with Sirius's statement on the T7 patch forever being safe. I'm saying this, like I said, out of personal experience of seeing people literally bypass it in the past. And this is not any shade on Sirius, but it's just ultimately, I've been bitten so many times by playing Black Ops 3 that it has just made me really, really sour in a way that I just don't want this to happen to me again and again. And so that is why I'm coming at you guys with this video, to really explain how awful this whole situation has been in the past. And it's crazy because even 5 years ago, I got some random anonymous email that basically said that Black Ops 3 would be tainted with this issue forever, where people were going to get booted offline, where people were not going to be able to have their games run properly with a bunch of stuttering issues. And it just sucks to see that ultimately the community is sort of dividing itself over this issue when it's really not even our fault. Sirius has confirmed that this will be his last post for Black Ops 3, and in my opinion, the countdown has begun until another bypass happens. I do believe that Sirius is telling the truth, however, about the T7 patch, but I'm still, like I said, going to remain skeptical simply because of my own experiences. Now, does this mean that I will not be using the T7 patch? No, like I said, I'm obviously forced to, and I wish I could just have a separate client like the Plutonium client to run Black Ops 3, like the Boy client. But even if that version works, listen, I'm going to tell you, you can find the Boy client still on the internet, but it has a ton of incompatibilities with a lot of custom zombie maps on Black Ops 3, and so you probably won't even be able to run a lot of those maps on the Boy client. And I would personally just not recommend anybody trying to go out and find these old versions of Boy clients, because many have been bootlegged and many are basically viruses to infiltrate your computer at this point in time. So basically, the moral of this story is to use the T7 patch for now. Like I said in my last video, I cannot guarantee the safety of this game, but I really hope moving forward that this is the end-all be-all solution until somebody hopefully comes around and makes some sort of new client like Plutonium for Black Ops 3.